Hey everybody, sorry it's been a little while. Been busy with life and bills and money and the whole deal. I'm sure everybody knows that. Um, just wanted to give a little quick tip here. Maybe it'll be useful to somebody. It's pretty basic mold making. So I had, I'm working on the Dodge Snow Fighter here. Got the fuel cell all scratch built and the fill right pump. I didn't have any clearance lights for it. So I did have one little one in my parts box, and I needed 5, so I took some ultra copper, regular old automotive silicone, good stuff for real vehicles as well. Built a quick little Lego mold box, squirt a little ultra copper in there, level it out with a little spatula or a piece of business card or something, and then you take your clearance light and press it down in there. I'm gonna do this in reverse, but there you go. So the clearance light itself is made out of the Gorilla 2-part 5-minute epoxy. Squirt some on a little pallet, stir it around. You don't need much. You drizzle it in your mold. When it's set, you pop it out. And let's see if we can get that out of there. Oh, yeah, went right on the floor. So anyway, no, here it is. And that's what you come out with right there. Now I've already put some Tamiya clear amber on them. But this one here in the front is the one I've been sanding the base on, because when they come out of the mold, they're a little fat. So if you look at that base right there, it's a little thick. You know, they're okay, but I like them scaled down a little bit. So they're kind of a pain in the rear end to hang on to. So what I've found is, I can get that right there. Let me get my mold out of the way. Take your God hand sanding sponges, right? And on the back side, it's foam. So if you're trying to hang on to this thing, you know that the Gorilla epoxy resin isn't like a super clear, hard resin, you know, and that takes, I have some of that, and it takes like 72 hours to full set. But if you're trying to pop out 5 or 6 of them real quick, I made a spare in case you lose one like I almost just did. This Gorilla two-part resin works pretty good. It'll set in 5 minutes, but leave it a few hours before you pull it out of the mold, because it might distort because it remains kind of soft. Now this is like the 3rd day on all these lights, and they're pretty hardened up. But they're still a little tender, so if you try to grab them with pliers or hemostats or something, you're gonna put some creases and some marks in the side of them. So I really didn't want to handle them too much. So I've been flipping them and putting them in the sponge part of the God hand, and then take your file and file that base down. You can push down in that God hand sponge, the bottom of the sponge, not the sandpaper part, but it'll hold it nice and flat for you. Then you can get a little jeweler's file on there and flatten that bottom out, and you're not going to have, plier tooth prints around your base or whatever. So that was something I thought somebody could probably use. And then messing around with this Gorilla 2-part epoxy, I had another grill from the Dodge, a junk grill in my parts box. So I took some of that 2-part epoxy and dripped it over the headlights, because these headlights are molded in the grill, and they're all usually chrome, right? The whole thing's chrome. There's no real headlight to it, so I put a little silver paint down, and then you get the texture of the engraving in the part itself, and just drip some of that 2-part epoxy over the headlight, and it works pretty decent to give you some kind of a half-ass lens. Looks a little bit better, and it's a quick, cheap way out. So just thought somebody could use that. And here I made it's not fully sanded down yet, but it's a Dodge taillight, because I only had one, so I made that out of the epoxy too. So yeah, there's a bunch of uses for that Gorilla 2-part epoxy. Like I say, give it a couple days to really harden up before you file it or start pulling on it, and then you can sand, or I use a file because it's nice and flat. but then you can start handling them a little bit and just, you know, they really won't stand up to like pliers and stuff with texture on it. So if you can get it into something foam or hang on to it with something, you know, like some wax or something, and file them down and work them like that. So yeah, I don't know if this camera will focus. See, the base of that one in the front right there is a lot thinner, and the one behind it's like super thick. That's the way it popped out of the mold. So I'm just trying to get them down to scale a little bit, and then I'll paint the base like a gasket, and then they're going to go up on the roof of that Dodge Snow Fighter. And there will be more on this truck in the future. I got to get the blade on it, get some hydraulic lines hooked up to it, but it's almost done. And I'll get some outside pics of it. So those are Scenes Unlimited wheels and tires, 750/16 mud and snows and that, just like they came with. And that's actually, my dad had a truck just like that. He would buy 2 new Snow Fighters every 2 or 3 years for his plowing business. And I did the fuel cell, try to make it look like military surplus. You know, back in the 70s, everybody got what they could. You know, we didn't have all the big contractor supply stores like we do now. So that's like government surplus fuel cell with a fill-right rotary pump. I'm going to get the hose on that and paint the fuel cap up. But that's got the Meyer plow controls in there. I got the bumper on a few days ago. I got a work light coming for it for the back end. Let's see, I used the same 2-part epoxy on the lens for the work light as well. So yeah, there's a lot of uses for that Gorilla 2-part epoxy. And the strobe stripe is decal stock, both colors, the green and the black. And both sides of the truck, all the black strobe stripes are all hand cut from black decal stock, along with the top and bottom pinstripe on that green. So it's the green base down with all hand cut striping and strobe marks on it on both sides of the truck. And I'm here to tell you that was a complete pain in the ass. I got the patterns though, for, you know, sized for the Dodge pickup model kit with a full length bed. So I think I'm gonna try to mess around and make some decals, and see if I can get them down to size and get some decals printed off so people won't have to go through this nightmare if you're trying to build a Snow Fighter, because I plan to build a few more of them. So, and I gotta, let's see if I can get it without destroying it. We got scratch built 8-foot Fisher, or I'm sorry, 8-foot Myers power angle plow with the 4 springs on it, and that's going to go on the front of that Dodge. Plow frame's already under there, but I got to do some pins, some hoses. But that's just a quick sneak peek of that. It should look a lot better with the clearance lights up top. We'll get the hose and the fuel pump, put the work light in the back, shining out the back. The tailgate will remain off, because anybody that's ever plowed knows if you got your gate up, it's a real bitch to see over, and it hurts your neck all night long. So we leave that off and we go plowing. So I got to do some mirrors and wrap this baby up. I want to get some outside pics of it, maybe take a movie. So yeah, little quick mold with ultra copper. It's fast, it's quick, it's cheap. If you have little parts, D-rings, headlight, buckets, whatever, anything small like that, it's a really fast way to make a little mold, and then you can pop out lights as many as you want, you know, or whatever parts you want. But yeah, ultra copper, and make your clear parts with the 2-part epoxy Gorilla. Works pretty good. You know, they do make, here, I'll set this up here, hopefully it won't break anything. I have 2 big old jugs of this 2-part resin, but that's a 72-hour cure time on it, and it's only like a 3/8 thickness. You don't want to go like super thick with that, because it'll stay sticky and it's kind of a pain in the butt. So if you're doing you're doing a diorama with a pond or something like that, that'd be kind of good. But if you're going any thicker, you're probably better off using that Gorilla 2-part epoxy. All right. Hopefully somebody can use these tips. Get this stuff out of the way, give you a shot of the Dodge again. And that's got the, we'll see if we can get the hood open without wrecking the truck. What we got here? Tough to see, but 318 Myers plow valves in there. I went double battery, 80 amp alternator, did some wiring on it. Scratch built the valve and body and hoses and all that stuff. Plow pump and reservoir. Light's not the best in here, but we'll get that wrapped up and get some pictures of it. Get them posted up on my Facebook page and Instagram. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay safe. I know there's a lot of bad weather out there. Let's pray for everybody that lost their lives or lost loved ones, because that really sucks. All right. Be safe. Later.